Welcome to CyberBytes, the podcast. I'm your host, Ben Gascoigne, and in this episode, I was joined by Chris and Ryan, co-founders of Replica Cyber. From bootstrapping a security startup to rebranding and raising capital, they share how they've built a mission-driven business that protects digital activity in high-risk environments. Enjoy the show.
Well, welcome to the CyberBytes podcast. I'd love to welcome Chris and Ryan, the two co-founders of Replica Cyber. Thanks for coming in, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Brilliant. How's your weeks going so far? What are you getting up to?
It's been lots of meetings. I mean, as RSA is for everybody. Thankfully we're not raising money this year because that makes the weeks even harder. But no, it's been all partner meetings and all of our customers, and it's the reason you go to these conferences is making those connections, so you don't have to fly around the world or fly around the country to go see some of these people. A lot of them are here this week, so it makes it a really, coming out to San Francisco, it's busy, it's insane. It is one of the best places to come to see everybody.
Brilliant, cool. And for yourself, obviously, you're the CTO co-founder. Do you do anything different?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Everything different. No, I think the expo floor is really overwhelming. There's just too much in there, right? There's I don't know how you can go to 500 different booths in 4 days, right? And actually have a meaningful conversation.
I'm getting lost everywhere.
Yeah, but the partnership conversation's been good. Mostly it's you find the senior partner manager, and then Chris says some words, or somebody says some words, and then oh, you should talk to our technical person, which turns out to be a slightly more technical salesperson, and then eventually, probably 3 weeks after this event, I'll have the conversations with the tech guys. So it's been fun.
Nice, brilliant. And take us back, guys. Obviously, Replica now. I'll let you tell the story.
Yeah.
So I know you guys previously were Grey Market Labs, rebranded very recently to Replica. So yeah, talk us through the story.
Sure. So when we started, Grey Market Labs is a great genesis for us, a great start to the journey. Mm-hmm. We both came from, we both were leading a software business for a defense contractor doing defense and military intelligence. And part of that business was cyber counterintelligence, so defeating foreign intelligence services before they compromise the United States and our allies. Mm-hmm. It's some of the highest security work that you can do in the world in the digital space. Every tool that was available to us had an issue with it, and so it really caused destruction of years worth of work, put people's lives at risk. It happened dozens and dozens of times. And so Ryan and I stepped back finally and said, okay, let's go build the better platform to solve that problem. And that's where Grey Market Labs came from. So Public Benefit Corporation, certified B Corp now with a mission to protect life online. We've got 20 patents around how you protect the exposure of information when operating at scale in the digital space. So that's the start, right? That's where we came from. And what the thing is that we set out to solve was that data exposure problem. But that was a niche part of the world, and we are still very much doing that work. But as we created the platform that can help us control those tens of thousands of pieces of data that can be exposed, it turned into this incredible automation platform. Mm-hmm. And the name Grey Market Labs just didn't fit with that. So 3 years ago, we renamed the product to be Replica. Mm-hmm. And then it became really clear, okay, well, what's the company? What's the product? Let's just do business as Replica Cyber. And so that's why we rebranded this past fall as Replica Cyber. So it's still fresh in everybody's minds. But it fits better. Creating environments, secure environments as a SaaS platform to protect and enable high-risk activities, that's beyond what we originally set out to do, and it needed a different name.
Brilliant. And from the CTO, what is it you guys do? Tell the people.
Well, from a technical perspective, so we build secure environments, and secure environments are comprised of all the different layers of the stack that you might expect, like the operating system and network layer, but also built to protect the activity and cover the applications and the workflows and things that people need to get their jobs done. You can think of it sort of like a desktop as a service, which is a very terrible analogy, but desktops have an internet connection, they have operating systems, they have applications, they're controlled by IT. So we do all those types of things, but with the orchestration platform. So we give you a place to do the most dangerous things that your organization won't let you do otherwise.
Yeah, so taking it beyond that, so where it started is just kind of, okay, well, I need to go do something, and I need to maybe go browse and do anything. So those basic use cases, and I need protected while I'm doing that work. What's gone into, well, I just don't need to browse, I need to do data analytics. I need to do data collection. I need to work with not just one desktop, I need 7 systems to go do what I need to do. So that's why it's secure environments, not secure desktops, secure environments, because it goes beyond just desktops. It needs to be, well, I need a full-blown server. I need 50 terabytes of storage. I need 7 or 18 GPUs or whatever it might be to go do my analytics, my data, my reverse engineering, whatever it might be. Those are full environments and systems. That's what Replica automates now. Within that context of those 20 patents and those really that new approach to data protection and control, all that in place with full observability, that's what the platform does. And it's a SaaS platform, so you've taken that burden off the IT team. So it really has grown into, while we do and start most of our work with the security teams, it's really grown into a benefit for the IT organization, for the CIO, for the CTO, and saying, well, you don't have to do this work anymore. It's hard, it's difficult, it's hard to maintain. We've put it into a product. So take that burden off of your teams. Don't worry about that budget. You pay for the platform, and you save a significant amount of money in doing that. That's really what has kind of been the next evolution of the platform, and really what we've been releasing here this past year.
Well, the CIO Shop is sort of built to protect the organization. It's not built to enable some business team down within the organization to do their job, right? So when that business team says, hey, I really need to do some work that's going to require a computer with a GPU. Like, well, we don't have, laptops don't have fancy GPUs in them. There's just the desktop you get. Or I need to do some research into some persistent threat that's based out of China. Where do I run my malware? The IT team's like, not on our network, right? So now with Replica, the IT team can say, sure, here's your environment, or here's sets of environments to do all that work that is outside of the scope of IT, but should really be within the purview of IT.
Brilliant. And you mentioned you're not raising money this year. You did last year, but before that, you actually bootstrapped the business, or at least Grey Market Labs, for a number of years. What was the kind of challenges of bootstrapping a business?
While there were a lot of challenges, right? Because
You're gonna write a book on this, right?
Right. You don't have a deep bank account to go into and say, okay, great, how are you going to pay salaries the next month? You have to plan. But actually, what that's done for us, it fit better with our personalities, and we're fiscally conservative. We're not going to say, okay, well, that's great, let's go hire 20 people. And okay, well, if that doesn't work out, well, we have to raise again and keep diluting. That model never ever made sense to us. And so we have had conversations over these past 6-7 years with people. Oh, should we invest? Should you invest now? Should we do this? And it just never felt right.
Well, we had offers. We turned down offers.
Yeah.
It's not like we couldn't have raised.
But right now, what we found is, okay, I hit the limit of being the only salesperson and the only person driving the business side. And so Ryan driving the engineering team. We have we're engineering first, large organization, an engineering team. And now it's, okay, great. Now with the fundraise we just closed in November, now we have a go-to-market team and can scale beyond myself. So we've always been profitable, but now it's said, okay, we've got the traction that we were really hoping for and looking for in major financial institutions and government organizations, healthcare, global business. And we needed a team to go create those partnerships, have those discussions, move this further and faster. And so I think in the technical world, things move so quickly. If we didn't do that at this point, I think it would just have held back the company.
Okay, and look, it's quite right. You're not playing with anyone else's money. You're literally playing with your back pockets. How deep they go, obviously, I don't know if there was ever a time where it was a stressful time. But look, growth of the company and stuff like that. But what's the main thing for the both of you actually, and in trying to create a culture that isn't sort of being dominated by somebody coming in and throwing a load of cash at you and saying, look, I want you to do this, I want you to do that. Like, you guys built it from nothing. So like, what for you two, the culture side, how important is that to every employee to really get ingrained into that?
We built the business to be the business we wanted to work at. Not that we didn't work at good businesses before. I mean, I think we both had good experiences, but making sure that the business that we were building is the one that we would be proud to work at and would want to work at, and someone would want to work with us. And I think we take culture for granted because we do such a good job of hiring people that are, difference of opinions are great, but they're hard workers, they're industrious, they're innovative, they want to do more, they come to the table with good ideas. I mean, I think we stick with that motif on the tech side and even on the go-to-market side.
And so
We're successful.
Yeah, the intellectual curiosity is number one for us. You have to be. If you're looking for me to tell you what to look at and what to do next, this is not going to work. It doesn't work with any of our team members. And then the ability to have mutual respect for everyone and challenge opinions. So I think one thing when we hire people, one thing people are surprised by and quickly becomes, oh, that's really refreshing. Ryan and I will debate a lot. And it's not
In front of everybody.
Yeah. And it's not, and people initially they said, why are you guys arguing? I'm like, no, this is just debating. But it's for us, it's healthy. For the organization, it's healthy because it causes people to speak up that otherwise wouldn't. It allows those sometimes difficult conversations to happen because we talk about the bootstrapping mode. You can't go in 10 directions. You can't take 10 experiments. You have to choose a path. And you have to say, okay, great, let's debate and see if this path is going to be right. If we think it's going to be right now, and then we all move forward together. And so that is what has been successful. And so even when we've now almost doubled the team here the past few months, that piece of it is the thing. As I look out for the people we've hired and how people are working with the team, that is what is top for me. Making sure they can thrive in that environment, they can drive their own initiatives forward, but have that healthy debate about where we're going.
Okay. And when did this friendship or business trip, I suppose, actually start for you guys? How far do you go back?
2009.
Yes. So what is that? It's 16 years now.
Okay.
We weren't all gray-haired. Well, you might have been.
I mean, this has come through recently.
We're
I guess.
not all gray.
So Ryan and I worked together. Ryan worked for me at a defense contractor.
Yeah.
And so the story was I had my entire leadership team over at my house for a casual lunch, just a celebratory lunch, and the conversation around the table in the backyard came up, said, hey, one of my team members brought this up. Said, would anybody ever want to start a company? And every one of my leadership team raised their hand except for one. I said, what are you doing?
No.
It wasn't him.
I was going to say.
No, he raised his hand. And I said, guys, what are you doing? Like, they were all working for me. I said, we're working on this business together, like this contractor together. What are we doing? And made a joke out of it. We walked in, Ryan and I happened to walk inside the house together. And I said, hey, if you were ever interested in doing something, let's have a conversation. And that was the summer. 4 months later, we incorporated. But that was 3
years before
3 years before we actually launched and left our previous jobs and started the company, because we spent that time. We knew there was something that we wanted to build, but what is it, and then what was the value of that, and taking that. We had 40 meetings in 2015, talking to different potential investors or potential customers or advisors, and really what is this thing, defining that thing. And then we spent 2 years every Tuesday night at 9 o'clock, almost besides vacations, without fail, a group of 5 of us would get on a Zoom call and would talk about the company and talk about the product, start to build things. And so we did all that work before we even left our jobs and decided to take no salary for a year. And so but built to that point. I think that
shout out to our wives for supporting that and making that happen.
Yes, absolutely.
I'll mention them in the
in the YouTube, in the credits. Have them scroll through. So that's where it started.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
And coming to the present day, like you just mentioned, you took the funding. You've got a go-to-market team. You've also got a global team. Like, you've got folks where I'm based over in the UK. How is it challenging, or is it exciting to run a business that does operate globally?
Yes.
Yes, it's both.
Yeah. For me, it feels really quick. Because we were such a small, we were engineering led in terms of size, and then we had Chris and a customer success person, and now we've grown across the Atlantic, and that's unwieldy for me.
Yeah, I think of it differently. It's definitely I think it's necessary. Most of the hires that we've had have been organic. It's really, we've used recruiters, but if you look at the company, less than 50% of our team has come directly from recruiters. And so we had customers over in the UK. I was traveling there about every other month.
Wow.
And growing there. So financial services is a big part of what we do. So obviously London, New York, and then other places in the US now, as everybody is spread out. but I was going there all the time, and we had somebody that we talked to, now our lead of UK sales, and I just had a brief conversation with him. I wasn't interviewing; it was just a connection that somebody was making for me. He knew our business technically better than anybody else I had talked to.
It's true.
He had worked with companies previously, and so while they weren't competitors, they are now gone in the market. But Fireglass, browser isolation vendor from years ago, Bromium before that, so microservices architecture. So really interesting companies. He had been the lead of sales for those companies in EMEA. And he knew the value of isolation as an approach. And so then when he heard about Replica and what we've taken it to now and all the different aspects of the platform, the automation we put behind it, the ease of deployment, the SaaS model, he said, this is the next generation of isolation. Like, this is the next thing. And nobody else had been able to articulate that as well.
He is right, though.
Yeah, he is. But it was, again, it's very organic. I said, this makes perfect sense. He happened to have a solutions engineer, architect that he's worked with for many years, that then we were able to bring along with him. And so now we've got a 2-person kind of go-to-market team in the UK to find new opportunities, to find new partnerships, to take those customers that we have in London and outside of the city and be that go-to of, hey, you're in town, you can go meet them physically. It's really, really valuable.
Brilliant. And obviously, as saying, you guys have done everything. You've bootstrapped the business. You're now where you are today. Is there anything exciting over, I don't know, the next few months, the next year, either on the product side or actually on the business side that is exciting and that you can let people know?
Well, I mean, on the product side, we've got we've got a couple of years worth of roadmap on big picture stuff, and I can't share them here. But
Absolutely.
The biggest additions that we've done are expansions of our malware offering, expansions of our telephony offering, which includes physical mobile devices integrated in platform as well as all the virtualized devices, and then the transition of these business-led purchases into the enterprise IT purchases. So that's sort of some high levels of where I'm excited about that from the product side, because the more people that know about it, that can take advantage of it, the more quicker, faster value that the companies get out of the product.
Yeah, and what you'll see is from our probably a press release either right around the time of this podcast, so either right before or right after, will be our latest release, which it was a fundamental redo of our user experience.
Okay.
And so have stayed with that for the user experience for a while because it's working, it was doing what we needed to do, but creating a new experience for our customers right now allowed 2 things. One is able to make a lot more of the platform API driven. So we've always been API driven, but making something that could be consumed by the enterprise teams, and they can start to do development against the platform themselves. So that's what you'll see coming out over this next year, is the ability of those technically enabled teams to start to do some of the workflow automation in the platform that we have enabled, and some of the scripting. And where if you did this work previously, as people have tried to do over many years, you're taking 2,000 to 3,000 lines of code, creating these scripts, managing those, trying to deploy these things. And we've taken that down to our APIs, where realistically 3 to 4 lines of code will do the same thing for you. And so releasing that as a capability where people can start to build their own things and building the community around that, that's what you'll see here. Like, that's what is now in the hands of our current customers, and what we'll be releasing to the market here is that enterprise capability. And then I think what you'll see over the next year or so is great. Generative AI is the thing for it. You look at the innovation sandbox and everything that was here. I mean, maybe 8 to 10 of those innovation sandbox companies were AI companies. AI is great. We've had AI baked into our platform and into our patents that we received. Our first one was 2018. AI is baked into that from that. Like, this has been part of our journey since we first thought about this. Ryan's background was in the AI space. And so AI is not new. What generative AI, yes, is new and has been transformative and is starting to be. So what you'll see the next year is, as we take a look at it and take a look at what we think about with AI, that will be what you'll see over the next year, because it has to have value for the customer. It can't just be a neat gimmick. I'm not going to throw an AI into the name of the company or anything like that unless there's value to the customer. That's how we drive success. And that's we'll just tease that out as what you'll see over the course of the next year.
Well, you think about sometimes we say we're not really a cyber-led business, we're a mission-led business. We came from the mission space, we want to enable mission. And so we think about the activity that our customers are doing in the environments, and not what should the environment be. It's, okay, what are you trying to do? Okay, well, and this is how you get to the type of environment that enables that. So you can think of how things like generative AIs will make it easier to describe the type of work you're trying to do, and then we can produce the type of environment that's appropriate for your work, and then have those generated in real time for whatever the activity is.
Brilliant.
Yeah, and really, like, if you think about that now at the business side of things, as Ryan alluded to, we're not cyber by background. RSA is a wonderful conference and is a cyber-focused conference. So it's been, we cut across a number of the categories if you look at like Gartner charts or whatever it might be. But what it's turned into is, while the security teams are initially the ones that purchase us, this has gone now into the business side of things, is people are driving new revenue opportunities by implementing Replica. And that's a huge difference. And that's really just over the past, say, year and a half is where it's really started to go of, okay, I can acquire a new company. I can acquire third-party technology and bring that into my organization. Generally, that's risky. And you have a risk score on that may say, okay, this technology is too risky, or the processes they use, the activities they do, that's too risky to bring into my organization. And you might not do a transaction. You might not do an acquisition. Now, with Replica, you can make that acquisition, bring that technology immediately into Replica, have it isolated from your organization, but have full observability over that technology. Allow those people still to operate and do the things that made them an acquisition target to begin with. And now you can drive new revenue opportunities because Replica can help you make those decisions, because you have this, and you can mitigate all that technical risk just by the platform existing. And so that's the enterprise piece of it. That's been the huge thing of, okay, you can do all these great things that you just fundamentally couldn't do previously because they're too hard, they're too difficult, they're too complex. We've taken the complexity out. It's just the simple way to go do it.
Brilliant. And looking more into the future beyond the year, and I'm going to get two different answers, but where do you both want the business to be in, say, 5 years?
Well, I mean, look, here's the deal. When we get the right words, the technology is amazing, and the people that are already using it love it. And we have spread. The reason why we're able to bootstrap is because we spread through word of mouth, right? Our customers would go to another job and be like, "Hey, we need to bring Replica with us," right? So, the traction is mounting, and when it hits, it's going to hit big. 5 years, maybe we'll buy a couple $1 billion company and integrate them with us.
I like that thought. I'll do a little more. Where I would like to see us end up is we are the go-to platform for protecting and enabling high-risk activities for organizations. So we become that. No, why aren't you using Replica? Or they may not even know they're using Replica. It may have just been so embedded in your organization. It has just become the engine that allows those high-risk activities to happen and to mitigate some of the human risk, to mitigate a ton of the cyber risk. And it just becomes the standard for whether it's financial services or global business or government or whatever it might be. That's, I think, where we have already started in for our customers, and what they are driving. This is not us driving that vision. This is our major global banks, and we have some of the global, the Fortune, I'd say 10 in our portfolio here, which is, again, bootstrapping the company. I'm still shocked that these are customers that have bought off on this vision and what Replica can really provide for them. That validation has been tremendous, and they're the ones saying this should be in the hands of every one of our employees, and to mitigate so much risk, so many different pieces of risk across the organization. That's where I think it'll be in the next 5 years.
It also has the ability to prevent, or you don't have to buy a bunch of additional protections. You can actually lock down your corporate infrastructure like all the CISOs want to do without having onesie-twosie rules to allow and enable all sorts of things to happen. You can lock it down like you want and then just put the risky stuff in Replica. So your infrastructure is a nice protected bubble with a lot less tooling and a lot fewer humans doing it, and all the risky stuff happens over here in Replica. It's where we're going.
And that's where the differentiators start to pop out of, okay, it was great. So people think, oh, I created this isolated environment. Well, sure, people have been standing up VMs for years and said, okay, well, it's not on my infrastructure, it's in a data center somewhere, it's not touching my network, I don't have to worry about it, and I do a VDI interface into it. That's all fine. But when you have to get data in or out of that environment? Who's auditing that? Who's dealing with that? Those data services, those pieces of managing the human activity, to managing the activity that's happening, not the IT piece of it, the infrastructure and all that, it's the entirety of that. That's where we really see the differentiation, because it's no other solution has really talked about that entirety, that comprehensive approach to it. That has been the biggest difference.
Yeah, so I'll pull that thread. I'm probably rambling on here, but the comprehensive nature of it it was a gamble at the time when we started because the technology didn't quite exist to do it the way we needed to do it. I mean, our first approach was spinning up virtual machines with scripts, and then we moved to spinning up virtual machines with Terraform, and then we moved to Kubernetes, right? So we could never have deployed profitably what we started out building in 2014. But by the time we got to where we were doing the things we wanted, the technology had caught up and the cloud costs had come down, and so we were ready to catch that when it happened.
Brilliant. And I think that's a great way to get to the end of this. So look, guys, thank you so much for coming on, and have a great rest of the RSA week.
Awesome.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thanks, guys.
Thank you for listening. If you've enjoyed today's show, please like and share with your friends and colleagues, as this is really important for the show's reach. If you'd like to be our next guest or are interested in Aspiron Search's staffing solutions, please get in touch directly with me or reach out to us via our website www.aspironsearch.com.